The international Olympic community is banning a flag and a national anthem for the next 2 Olympics. I'm going to tell you what the country is and why this is even happening. Also, Major League Baseball says that it is reclassifying the Negro Leagues to be a part of Major League Baseball moving forward, meaning bringing in all their numbers and those players to be Major League Baseball players. What does this mean for the statistics? And does this actually fix anything? Chris and I definitely have opinions on that. 5-0, Ohio State is in the top 4 of the college football playoff rankings. 2-loss Florida only drops 1 spot after a completely optically challenging home loss to LSU. Is that right? Chris and I are going to break down the state of college football as we head into championship week. You want opinions. You're searching for intelligence. You found them both right here. It's the home of the first round, a place where it helps you be smarter than your friends when it comes to sports. Let's get it started.
You're tuned into the hottest sports analysis of the week with your hosts Ron Dolbeck and Chris Roberts. And now, here's the first round.
We're here live on YouTube talking about everything going on in the world of sports. It's Zach, it's Chris, it's me, and you talking here about everything this week that is pertinent going on in the world of sports. Joining me as he has for over the last year on my left, Chris Roberts. Ton of stuff going on. We got college football championship week. We got Olympic news. We've got Major League Baseball news with, I think, one of the hugest things that they've done probably in the last decade since the steroid bans and all that nonsense. And we've got NFL playoff scenarios starting to crystallize and take form. What's the biggest thing on the plate for you, Chris?
It's got to be the college football playoff and the NFL playoff starting to formulate.
Yeah, if you had to watch one, Saturday all day or Sunday all day, what are you hooking it on?
I'm looking at Saturday all day because this one is really starting to get interesting, especially with COVID.
All the championship games?
Yes.
Not a lot of cancellations this week. There is a ton of things going on in the world of sports. We're going to cover it all for you, but let's get it started where I think it's got to be the biggest story in sports right now, and that's in one place, Major League Baseball. When was the last time we started the show with that? But we're giving you the best. Major League Baseball finally recognizes the stats and legitimacy and the efforts of the Negro Leagues. This is a long time coming. I think this is a good move. This week, Major League Baseball announces that they want to, quote, correct a long-time oversight in the game's history. Yeah, that's putting it mildly, but it's still moving in the right direction. I like that. College football news. Championship week is here. So, what better way to kick it off than to have the University of Florida head coach Dan Mullen come out and say, quote, when asking about how Florida lines up in the playoff picture, he said, quote, he'll think about that after the Gators win on Saturday night in the SEC championship game against number 1 Alabama. That's a really good move, putting a lot of bulletin board material up for a team in Alabama that doesn't even need that. This might be Alabama's best team in the past 20 years, and when you look at how dominant they've been, that's saying a lot. Other things going on in college football. Number 4, Ohio State takes on Northwestern in the Big 12 championship game. Number 3, looking to get revenge against Notre Dame. This time they'll have their number 1 linebacker. This time their quarterback, Sunshine, he'll be playing, and it's not at Notre Dame in a primetime game. That's for the ACC championship. Big one there. How about number 23, Tulsa? Going on the road to take on Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium. Cincinnati is ranked number 9. They're 8-0 and undefeated. Luke Fickell has definitely had a monster season with them. But Chris and I are going to discuss whether they should even be getting a sniff at the playoffs. I've got some definite opinions on that one. Number 10, Oklahoma is going to take on number 6, Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game in Dallas. I've got thoughts on that and a pick. 3-2 Oregon. Now just think about that. 3-2 Oregon is going to take on USC, ranked number 13 in the country, undefeated in the Pac-12 championship game. Just say that slowly to yourself once, and that right there will tell you what 2020 in college football has been about this whole season. Absolute craziness. And here's the craziest thing. Oregon is unranked with a 3-2 record playing for the Pac-12 title. Enough said. NFL news. 3 weeks left before the playoffs. Tons of teams fighting to make their playoff positions stronger right now. Big games this weekend. Bolts go on the road to Las Vegas. Buffalo goes on the road to what I think is going to be a tough game at Denver. They're laying 6 points. This is my teaser special. NFL picks, I've been red hot. How about Tampa Bay going on the road to Atlanta? Tampa Bay wants to solidify themselves at a higher position in the rankings for the NFC. They could do it with a big win on the road at Atlanta. Biggest game of the weekend. Kansas City goes on the road to New Orleans. Taysom Hill, I said at the beginning of the year, this guy deserves the 3 years at $21 million. Drew Brees is down. He is going to be the starter again. I like that game. It's huge. Seattle at Washington at the beginning of the season. This is not a game that we would have had marked as one that will be important 3 weeks left in the season, but it is. This is a big one. Also in NFL news, Jalen Hurts comes in to replace Carson Wentz in Philadelphia last weekend, goes 17 for 30, 167 yards and 1 touchdown. Those are pretty pedestrian numbers. You're like, Ron, why is this even a story and why are you covering it? How about 18 rushes for 106 yards? They get a big home win, 24-21 over the Saints and solidify their chance in the NFC East, which is a grab bag to make the playoffs. I think they're looking a lot better, and I think they stick with Jalen Hurts this week. Lastly, NBA news, Giannis, pushing his current league MVP status, signs the largest NBA contract ever. 5 years, $228 million. I'm not sure that this really solves the problem for Milwaukee getting over their second round bouncing the last 2 years in the playoffs. Chris and I are going to talk about that. It's a 5-year deal. He's locked in for 4 years, player option for the 5th. And Chris, woo! There's tons of stuff going on.
Yes, it is. It's quite a bit of stuff going on.
Yeah, I want to start with Major League Baseball right now. I think this is a monster story that, quite frankly, isn't getting talked about. This, to me, not only should have led the story with ESPN and SportsCenter the last couple days, I really think this should have been the story in the news. Like the major channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, they should have been covering this because it's so huge. Major League Baseball comes out and says the Negro Leagues, which you know I'm a huge fan of. We've got some Negro League jerseys out today. Were in existence from basically 1920 to 1951. They officially folded up their tents because of lack of attendance in 48. They had some of the best baseball players, just baseball players in general, playing in the Negro Leagues. And for the first time, Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred, the commissioner, come out this week and say, we're going to take the stats and we're going to consider everything they did as a part of Major League Baseball. How huge is this?
Well, it's huge. It's huge, especially on the social as far as social implications go. It's very huge. Dealing with all of the social unrest that's going on this year, the fact that baseball, who a lot of African Americans actually thought of it as kind of like a white sport, and looking at the dwindling numbers of African Americans in baseball,
Yep.
This is very big for Major League Baseball to kind of curb that.
Guys that played in the Negro Leagues that you might not have known did it. How about, Willie Mays played?
Yeah.
Birmingham Black Barons, 1948. Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks. Of course, Jackie Robinson was there. Roy Campanella. So many players that never even ended up getting a sniff in the major leagues. I think this is so huge. Players that you might not have heard of that played in the Negro Leagues that were absolutely amazing. Cool Papa Bell. There was a saying about him. He was so fast. It was so fast that when they went to the hotel after a game, he could turn the light off and be in bed by the time the light went off.
Yeah.
That's how fast they said he was. Satchel Paige, Judy Johnson, Monty Irving. How about Ted Double Duty Ratcliffe, one of my personal favorites? Buck O'Neil.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the first black manager in the majors? And he also went on to was a founding member with the Negro League Baseball Museum, not Hall of Fame. I've been there. And Josh Gibson, of course. Many recognize Josh Gibson, not Babe Ruth, not Hank Aaron, not Barry Bonds, but Josh Gibson. And that's actually his jersey there with the Homestead Grays, number 20. He was a catcher. They recognize him as the Major League Baseball home run king.
Right.
Yeah. And so a lot of these guys you don't know about them, and they were some of the best, just flat out baseball players. Now they'll be recognized, and their statistics will be recognized as being major league players, not just Negro League players. The cool thing about this week is our smaller show, which you're going to want to check out on YouTube right below, right here. We're going to do a whole special, probably 15 minutes at least, just on this subject. So make sure to check out that show. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscription button down there. Become a part of the First Round family. Now let's move on to college football. The CFP rankings come out this week. Bama number 1, Notre Dame 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4. Rounding out the top 10, Texas A&M, Iowa State at 8 and 2. Then Florida only drops one slot with that home loss to LSU. Georgia at 8 and 2 is number 8. Then Cincinnati and Oklahoma. Do you have any problems with what the way that's gone down, the way they have it ranked this week?
No, not really. You have a bunch of 8 and 2 teams that are sitting right there. So the fact, they're sitting right there in that in-between stage, that's fine with me.
Right, but there was a lot of scuffle, especially when they announced it on Monday night on ESPN. All the analysts were saying, well, Florida should have dropped a lot more. And I'm looking at it going, okay, so Florida's 8 and 2, and they're at 7. You can't put Florida past Georgia because they have they're 8 and 2 also. But they beat Georgia soundly. That wasn't even a close game, so I can't drop them past them with the same record and beating them on a neutral field. Then we go to Cincinnati. Does Cincinnati deserve to be higher than 9th right now?
No, we're looking at the other team's strength of schedule. That's where that comes in. Strength of schedule is basically that's what makes the top 10. It's generally from the strength of schedule. So, no.
Right. Cincinnati right now is 8-0, and I think Luke Fickell has done a great job. But when you look at the quality wins that they have right now, it's against Army, UCF, who's gone flat, and SMU, who has also gone flat, even though I think they're still ranked in the top 25. The best wins that Cincinnati has is Army, UCF, and SMU. I think they're right where they deserve to be at number 9. I'm not going to give a lot of credit to the fact that they're undefeated because their strength of schedule, like you said, it's just not there right now.
Right. So, and unfortunately, that's their thing. I understand they were trying to load up and get some more teams. Like I think they're trying to get like BYU or somebody else on the schedule. But, with COVID going on, they weren't able to do it. So, therefore, you have to play, the hands that you dealt.
Right. Oklahoma at number 10, they're 7 and 2. You got a problem with them being in the top 10 right now?
Oklahoma, no. I think they're, for their conference, I think they're the top team in their conference right now, so 10 is not
okay, what about Iowa State? They might be the top team in their conference because those two are going to get it going on Saturday for the Big 12 championship. Iowa State is 8 and 2. They're ranked 6th. I think that's a good value for them because if I think about it, okay, if they go head-to-head against Georgia and Florida and Cincinnati, I think it's a coin toss on those three. Oklahoma, I'm okay with them being at 10 as far as their record being 7 and 2, but their only quality wins are against an Oklahoma State team who hasn't had Chuba Hubbard and Texas. So their only quality wins are against Texas and Oklahoma State. That's not too strong for me, and they don't look like a top 10 team to me.
Well, no, they're not the Oklahoma that you've seen in previous years. Offensively, you have a freshman come in, Spencer Rattler as the quarterback. Right. So, with that being said, this is just a down year for Oklahoma. I think that once Spencer Rattler gets a little bit more comfortable in the offense and it becomes like a regular year, I think Oklahoma will be back to where they were.
Okay, let's talk about something way off the board. Again, it's 2020, it's COVID-19, it's craziness. Let's talk about Coastal Carolina right now at 11 and 0. Quality wins against App State, a top 10 ranked BYU team they beat at home, and University of Louisiana, the Fighting Raging Cajuns, who are also ranked 21. They'll play them again Saturday, but they're 11 and 0. How come they're not getting a sniff at the top 10 right now, Coastal Carolina?
Again, that's where the system it screws the smaller teams. In a situation like this, Coastal Carolina should be somewhere in that top 10 simply because they played who were there on the schedule. They did beat the BYU team. Right. And, they did beat whoever ranked that was on their schedule. They did beat them.
Right.
So,
they got quality wins with App State, the Raging Cajuns who are ranked, and BYU. Those are 3 quality wins. Why aren't they ahead of Oklahoma? Oklahoma's quality wins are Oklahoma State and Texas.
Again, they play in the Power 5 conference, and, they unfortunately, the college playoff, they put more effort, more ranking, more power
emphasis.
behind the emphasis on those.
Is that right, though?
It's not right. No, of all the years.
You got to reward Coastal Carolina. They're 11 and 0, and they've got 3 quality wins. I think they're better than Oklahoma. They should be ranked 9th, 10th.
Yeah, I mean,
And USC I could actually put above Oklahoma, even though they haven't played as many games.
But I mean, of all the years, this is the year for the smaller schools. This is the year they could have actually had some.
And they still can't crack it. You got two small schools that they're what, 19-0 combined.
Right.
And they still can't crack the top 10. I mean, one of them's in the top 10, but Cincinnati doesn't have a sniff at the playoffs, and neither does Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this is of all the years that for a non-Power 5 team to actually get close to getting to the playoffs, this would have been the year. I mean, but unfortunately, you have a team like Ohio State who hasn't played anybody, who's been in a down conference, who's still sleeping in at number 4.
Ohio State gets a close win against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game this weekend. Do they make the playoff? Close win.
They shouldn't. No.
Why? Because they don't. They haven't done enough.
They haven't done enough to me.
But it's a thin line between the eye test and what they've actually done. So they did beat Indiana fairly handily.
Again, I mean, to me,
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not arguing.
I understand.
Okay.
But to me, just me personally, I feel that Ohio State should not even be in the playoff picture right now. I feel that the other teams have went out. Their team has laid it out all out, playing 9 or 10 games this whole season. Ohio State's played 5 games. They've had 2 games actually taken off of their schedule.
Right. But that was against Michigan, which is like a free spot on the bingo board. They would have blown them out.
Understandable, but these other teams that had these same same type of games going, they still played those games. I mean, you have to look at the Clemson's playing
10
like a Wake Forest or somebody like that. They didn't they didn't back out of those games. They actually played those games, right? So they played.
Alabama wins 10 SEC games for the first time ever in conference history. So that you got to reward that,
right?
Right. I think if Alabama loses this weekend, which they're not going to my Florida Gators, that they still need to be in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean
that's just how good they are. That loss isn't going to get them out. But you're saying Ohio. So if you're voting right now, Ohio State wins a close game or loses to Northwestern, who's in the playoff? You move A&M up to 4?
You move A&M up to 4, or you put in the SEC champion.
No, because if Florida beats Alabama, they can't be in the playoff.
This
can't happen.
Wait. This is how I'm looking. This is how I'm looking at it.
You gotta speak up so I can hear you.
This is exactly how I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Is regardless of what Florida does, whether Florida wins this game or not, their body of work is still better than Ohio State.
But if Ohio State's out, A&M's got to be in, not Florida. A&M's got a better record, and A&M beat Florida.
But this is where Florida leapfrogs A&M. If Florida beats A&M, Alabama destroyed A&M. Period. Point blank. Period.
So if Florida beats Bama,
right? They beat the team that beat.
I know, but
A&M.
that doesn't work in college football.
So to me, you have to be able to look at that as far as, because to me that actually trumps Florida's loss to A&M.
Yeah, but Florida has a terrible home loss at home to LSU with an absolutely brain-challenging, galactically challenging play by their corner, Wilson, throwing a shoe. I mean, I was sitting there watching. I go, what in the actual hell is going on? He just caught. I mean, I hate to put so much onto one play and one player over a whole season, but you could flip that on Florida and go, look, they're one shoe toss and one fumble in the A&M game away from being undefeated. But I still think if Florida beats Alabama, which they're not going to do, A&M is in. And that is even predicated on Ohio State has to play a close game against Northwestern or lose to Northwestern. I still put A&M in over Florida. I do.
Yeah.
That home loss to LSU can't happen.
No,
and it's the worst timing to happen at the end of the season.
It can't happen. It shouldn't happen. Again, this is the issue that I always have with Dan Mullen. Is like he always looks ahead, or he always loses a game that he shouldn't have lost.
Benching Kyle Pitts.
I mean, that was the shocker of the night. As I'm sitting here looking at Kyle Pitts sitting on the sideline texting.
Yeah. Why am I not in coach send?
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. That was so challenging to me. But I mean, what are you going to do? They shouldn't have even been in that position in the fourth quarter with their offense, and the defense was just like a sieve. I mean, like literally the guys that were starting for LSU at the beginning of the year, how many of them were on the field in that fourth quarter? None. Ed Orgeron is the only one. And they still got it done in the swamp, in a fog bowl, with a 52-yard field goal.
Yeah.
57-yard field. It's even worse.
I mean, to me, you basically you took your best player out of the game.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. Let's go on with the other big games this weekend. Oregon, unranked, with a record of 3-2 in 2020 with COVID, is playing for the Pac-12 championship against undefeated number 13 ranked USC. I'm listening. Explain this to me. I know Washington stepped out, but how are we at this place in college football?
I don't know. I mean, whatever's going on in Cali, I don't even know if that game's going to even be played.
It is. Well, it's going to be played in L.A., so it's a home game for USC, basically, because normally they played at Levi's Stadium up near Stanford.
Right.
And then on top of that, yesterday, what does Oregon do? They go out and give Mario Cristobal an extension. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but you don't give him an extension after a year where you're 3-2, unranked. And the only reason you're playing the Pac-12 championship is because Washington had so many problems with COVID, they bounced. That's not the time to give him an extension. Let's go to the Big Ten. Number 4, Ohio State, minus 20 against Northwestern. Where are you going?
I mean, to be honest with you, I want Northwestern to win, but, I mean, Ohio State's I believe they're going to win. I mean,
You going to lay the 20? Let me remind you, last week you laid the points with and took Navy, and I got my little fin here. Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll just leave that one right there. So, Ohio State, minus 20. Which way are you going?
I think Ohio State's win, but I think it's closer than that.
I think it's closer, too.
Much closer than that.
I'm taking Northwestern plus the points. I might even tease it. Number 10, Oklahoma, going up against Iowa State. How is Iowa State getting 5.5 points? Talk to me. I'm taking the 5.5 on a teaser all day long.
Man, it's that Purdy guy, quarterback, man.
I know. Who you got?
Oh man, I'm going with Ohio. I think Iowa State pulls off the win. I think.
Not only did they win, I mean, on a teaser, I'm getting 11.5 points.
Really?
Yes, they're getting 5.5 straight up.
Yeah.
Iowa State. That's what I'm saying. You got to explain it to me. Okay, this game no one's talking about. I'm going to talk about it. How about Minnesota at 3-3, trying to row the boat across the finish line? Going up against Wisconsin, who is 2-3 at Camp Randall, and Wisconsin is giving 12.5 points. What the actual hell's going on there? I'm taking Minnesota in that one.
Yeah, I think PJ Fleck is gonna get his boys rolling.
Yeah, I think so too. Here's the thing about Wisconsin: number 1 in the country in defense, can't score. 89th in offense. I think this is going to be a close game. You're going to give me 12.5 points. That's before I tease it. I'm taking the 12.5 all day long. I'm probably crazy. ACC championship, big revenge game. Not only are they not playing at Notre Dame, it's not a primetime game. Sunshine, your favorite quarterback, is going to be playing. They get their number 1 linebacker back, and it's a neutral site game. Clemson is laying 10.5, ranked number 3 in the country against number 2 Notre Dame.
Oh man, I think this is going to be a game for the century. I think Clemson actually runs it up on Notre Dame. I think they're going to stop that running. This is Kyron Williams, the running back.
Yep.
I believe Clemson's defense is going to put a stop to him. Mr. Ian Book.
Yep.
You just don't have it to pass, man.
No.
You
I
can't do
said
it.
Ian Book is a game manager. He is not explosive. They're going to be exposed this weekend. Once again, Notre Dame is going to play a Power 5 team that knows what they're doing, and they're catching them at the wrong time. The last time this happened in the bowl game down in Dallas, they ran it up on him big time. I think that's going to happen. I'm with you. I like Clemson. SEC championship. The number 1 team in the country, Alabama, laying 17 points against the number 8 offense in the country with UF coming off a really bad, mentally jogging, optically challenging home loss to LSU. Dan Mullen says, I'm going to let you know where the Gators sit as far as the playoffs after we win on Saturday. Woo-hoo! How about we pump the brakes there, Dan Mullen? How about we just pump the brakes and try some decaf? Alabama's laying 17. Give me your pick.
I'm going with Bama. They're the most balanced team in the nation.
Laying 17?
Yeah.
Against the number 8 offense?
What against Bama? You see that defense?
I know. But, hey, Florida's defense is 51 in the country. I think defensively they're mentally not completely there. When was the last time they made a big play against a quality team? Florida's defense. Doesn't happen. Bama's offense is ranked 5th in the country. They can mow everybody. Their defense is ranked 28th in the country. 17 is a huge number, man. I might be teasing this one down to 11, but I've got all my money on Alabama on a money line bet, straight up, no points. I'm parlaying that. What do you mean, ooh?
I mean, look, what I see Saturday against Florida, all those blown coverages.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what Mac Jones is going to do
Yeah.
with Devontae Smith?
Yeah. It's like a Swiss cheese defense, man. It's like Olay defense with Florida.
And then Najee
And
Harris
Zach's
running
agreeing
the ball?
with me. What?
Then Najee Harris running the ball too?
Yeah.
Oh man, no.
Yeah, and they don't even have their number one guy out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so good, it's sick. Tulsa 6-1 goes on the road to Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium on Saturday. Cincinnati is laying 14.5. Who you taking in that one?
I'm gonna take Cincinnati in this game. I think.
Wait, are you laying the 14.5 or are you taking them straight up?
I'm taking them straight up.
Okay.
Cincinnati, I think they just go undefeated this year. I think Luke Finkel has it going this year.
Yeah, and I think they've got something to prove. To all the people like me who says they don't deserve a sniff at the college football playoff, I think they should be ranked in the top 10. They don't deserve to be even 4 in the college football playoff. I mean, again, quality wins. Army, UCF, and SMU. Not enough. I think they get the win on Saturday. Whether it's 14-0, I'm not sure. We want to thank our almost 3,000 subscribers. We have added over 1,500 subscribers in the last 2 months. That is so awesome. Be one of those winners right now. Hit the subscription button right down here below and become a member of our family. Also, hit the notification button. YouTube will let you know every single time we upload new videos. If you want to be a part of the show, you can. You can follow us on Twitter. It's the first round, number 1. Or you can email into the show, and I've been so bad at this, Chris, thefirstraundrd@gmail.com. There are questions out there. I promise you next week I'm going to get to them. This week has been so super packed. We got the new studio going up. It is so close to being done, and it is looking sick. But we want to thank everybody. Be a part of the show. Hit down below here your comments and questions. You know, we did get quite a few comments last week on our NBA show. Is Dwayne Wade that much better than Paul Pierce? I don't want to say what the voting is right now, but Paul Pierce is out ahead in that one. I think I made a pretty convincing argument. Let's go to the NFL right now. Jalen Hurts steps in and takes over for Carson Wentz after he gets a monster 4-year, $128 million deal. And I thought he did a pretty good job there. He went 17 for 30 for over 160 yards, but the real thing was 18 rushes for 108 yards. They get the win against a super solid top NFC team in the Saints at home, 21-24. Are Carson Wentz's days numbered, or was this just a blip on the screen and Jalen Hurts just happened to have a good game?
I think Carson Wentz's days are probably numbered. I think that, looking at his body of work this season, I mean, the guy he's ranking low in everything. QBR, his passing percentages. I mean, touchdowns to interceptions. I mean, he's ranking low in everything. So I think it's about done.
Okay, so they go on the road this week, getting 6 points at Arizona. Who are you rolling with there?
I'm going at Arizona.
Arizona minus the 6?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jalen's going to be starting. We'll see how Mr. Hurts does in Phoenix this weekend. That's a big game for them.
Yeah.
Washington's – I mean, I can't believe I'm saying somebody's coming on in the NFC East, but Washington has actually had a decent season considered they have nothing talent-wise there. Their coach had cancer and had to overcome that. And they're still having a decent season. I've got them winning the NFC East. Bolts go on the road with getting 3.5 points to the Raiders. Raiders, here's the problem with them. They're top 15 in the NFL in offense. They're 25th in defense. They're only laying 3.5 points. And the Raiders have something to play for. They're in that 9th slot, just right there at the front door, almost into the playoffs. This is a huge game for them. The only thing that the Bolts have to play for is 3 more touchdowns for their quarterback, and he'll set the record breaking Baker Mayfield's touchdown throws in a rookie season. And Anthony Lynn doesn't want to get fired, which he should. I've got the Raiders minus the 3.5 in this one.
Yeah, I think regardless of whatever the Chargers got going on, Herbert, he can get his 3 touchdowns, but I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders and lay the points. Now, this game is a tricky game. I predicted at the beginning of the season that the Bills would win the NFC East. They can lock it up this weekend, but they've got to go on the road to Denver. Drew Lock threw 4 touchdowns last week. I don't care who they played. He's pretty much a rookie right now. He's looking solid. Denver's getting 12 on a teaser. I'm taking Denver on a teaser because I think Denver keeps it close, but I think the Bills get the win in the Mile High Stadium.
I think the thin air helps Denver keep this game close. I love what Josh Allen is doing, passing the ball. That him and Stephon Diggs connection. But I think, with that, it's going to be a close game, and I think Josh Allen proves that he's still, in the MVP candidacy.
Did you see this week ESPN came out with an article saying that Stephon Diggs is the best wide receiver in the NFL? The best wide receiver? Did you see that article? Like, what happened to Julio Jones? What happened to DeAndre Hopkins?
Well, when you look at what they're looking at statistically, I think what they're looking at is how many catches this guy has had consistently throughout this whole season. I think
is he the best though?
This season, as far as receiving wise, yes, he's caught more balls than any other wide receiver in the league.
I don't know if that makes you the best. Real quick, let's hit a couple more NFL games. Tampa Bay goes on the road to Atlanta. I think this is a tough game. Tampa Bay is laying the 6. I'm taking Tampa Bay on a money line straight up.
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa Bay straight up. My boys just can't get it right in Atlanta.
I don't know. Tampa Bay, they are what I thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. There was a lot of hype. I said they'd be good enough to make the playoffs. The farthest they're going to go is the second round, and then they get out. Seattle goes on the road, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, to play a tough game at Washington. Washington's getting 5.5. This is my monster teaser special. I really want Washington to keep it close. I'm going to take the 11.5 points at home with momentum. They're building for next year. I love what Ron Rivera has done there in the coaching position. Who do you got, Seattle, on the road at Washington?
I just think Washington's going to pull this one off. I mean, Seattle.
The upset.
Yeah, Seattle struggled on the road this year.
And Seattle struggles on the road defensively,
yes.
terribly.
Yes.
I like Washington that game. Let's get to the monster NFL game of the week. KC laying 3 points at New Orleans. I like KC. I like laying the 3. They've still got something to play for with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Zach's team sniffing around that chicken coop, wanting to get that number 1 seed in the AFC. I think they're still motivated. I lay the 3 points with KC on that one.
I can't say either way because both of these teams are playing for a number one positioning. I mean, with New Orleans losing, that moved Green Bay up to that number 1 spot, and I think New Orleans is trying to play for that bye as well. So I mean,
you gonna take the 3?
Yeah, this game go either way.
Yeah, it could go either way. I just think KC's going to sneak it out, and they want their offense to be peaking at the right time, and right now is the right time. Last game for the NFL. How about coming off possibly the NFL game of the year against the Ravens? The Browns go on the road this week to play the G-Men, who don't have a lot to play for. They're only laying 6 points. This is my second monster, ironclad 5-star lock of the millennium. I'm taking the Browns on a teaser. Pick 'em. No points. So I'm teasing the 6 points down. I'm taking the Browns to get it done on the road. They have a lot to play for. The G-Men don't want to get hurt. Joe Judge is probably going to have a bunch of second-string guys in there. There's not a lot of motivation. And if they lose, they move up in the draft.
Yeah.
I like the Browns.
Again, with the Browns, I hope they come out and they play their game. I mean, I love how they played Monday night against Baltimore.
Yep.
So I'm hoping they don't have an emotional letdown because, I mean, the game was that close and they lost.
Yep.
I'm going Cleveland to win this game.
Yeah, Cleveland's got to show me that they're for real. I mean, they showed it against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. They played their hearts out on Monday night, but this is a game that before they would lose. They'd find a way to lose this game in a game that they should win. You guys got to pull this through for me. I'm not a fan, but I said they were going to be a lot better this season than a lot of people thought. Excuse me, and that's what's happened. NBA news, let's wrap it up with Giannis signing a big deal. 5 years, $228 million. When I look at the lineup here, Drew Holiday, Deontay DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton's going to be 30 years old. Then you got Brook Lopez and Giannis. How does this look any different than the last 2 years when they get bounced in the second round? Like, what's the path to the championship? They're signing him, okay, but what are you expecting different?
Well, I mean, with this current lineup, I'm not expecting anything different, especially with the combination of KD and Kyrie over in Brooklyn. I mean, now you have Miami, emerging Miami.
Right.
You have Boston. Of course, you still have Boston.
Right.
But then you have Philly now with Doc Rivers there. So I mean,
I'm selling on Philly. I'm not buying on them. Here's the thing, though.
But
the last 2 years, Mike Budenhauser, the coach there, hasn't been able to get them out of the second round with all this much talent. What's different? Like, if you're going to sign him, you were talking to me about this at the beginning of the show, about them trying to go out and get Harden. But who are you going to give up to get Harden?
I mean,
is Brook Lopez gone? You can't get rid of Drew Holiday.
I mean,
now you don't have Eric Bledsoe there. Now you don't have Holiday, so who's your point guard?
I mean, with this right here, I mean, you have to look at something like putting Chris Middleton on the chopping block, unfortunately, and looking at draft picks and just leverage your future. I mean, if you can get James Harden right now, which is a top 5 NBA player in the league, to go with Giannis, you got to do what you got to do.
Zach, thumbs up or thumbs down on that deal? Thumbs up. If you can get James Harden, you don't have a point guard, and you got to sacrifice a lot of draft picks, thumbs up or thumbs down? You're saying pull the trigger on that. All right, let's go real quick. Eastern Conference, West Conference, top 3 or 4 teams. Right now in the Eastern Conference, I've got my Celtics, Milwaukee, Miami, and the Nets. The most concerning out of those, to me, is the Nets. Kyrie is just a head case. You could say he's the most talented, small 1 or 2 in the league, and I'm going to agree with you, but you don't know what you're getting with him, and also he could be injury prone. So they're the most concerning team out of those 4. Boston is still young, but I think they got to pull the trigger. It's like last year. You didn't make it last year. Now you got rid of Gordon Hayward. They got to pull a trigger and get somebody. If you don't get somebody, how do you expect to win? Miami, we know what you're getting with that, and Milwaukee. Those are the top 4 teams I've got in the East right now.
Yeah, I go with those teams, the 4 teams that you go with again, but I have Philly as my 4A.
What? Okay, so Zach's over there talking off mic about the Magic, and obviously he hasn't taken his smart pills today. The Magic are going to be lucky to make the playoffs, I think. But Philly, I'm selling on Philly right now.
The reason that I'm going with Philly is, again, because
you lose Al Horford.
You have the Doc Rivers factor. I believe he's going to figure out a way to get that whole, or get this whole thing situated.
He had more talent.
With Ben Simmons.
Yeah, but he had more talent in L.A., and how'd that work out?
But the Eastern Conference, I mean, I think he has a little bit more leeway to get that figured out, rather than having to play in the same city as LBJ.
Okay, give me your top 4 in the West, real quick.
Top 4 in the West. Of course, we got the Lakers. We got the Clippers.
Nope.
Let's see. Oh, goodness. It's like Lakers, Clippers, Golden State. And my 14 would be, I say, an up-and-coming Dallas.
Dallas. Okay, so I can't really argue with Dallas. I've got Golden State, which I think is not a lock pick. It's not a favorite pick. But I think that they're super solid, especially with all that experience. I know Clay and everything, yeah, but I'm liking Golden State at 4. I've got the Lakers. I've got Denver. And then you know what? I'm high on New Orleans right now. If their coaching comes around, I think that they've got a young nucleus there of good players, and I am liking New Orleans. So let's do something that we haven't done in a long time in the first round and talk Olympics right now. I told you at the top of the show that the Court of Arbitration for Sports ruled against a country and has banned them for the next 2 Olympics. No flags allowed and no playing of their national anthem. You have any guess who it is?
Russia.
It is Russia. It actually is Russia. The World Anti-Doping Agency has found so many violations from Russia that they took it to the Court of Arbitration of Sports and ruled against Russia, so they cannot play their national anthem for the next 2 Olympics. They can't even bring their flag anywhere into any of the facilities. It won't be even on the TV screen. No flag, nothing, because of so many drug violations. And Chris, what else is going on in the world of sports?
I'm just sitting here laughing. I'm thinking Russia would have learned from Ivan Drago from Rocky, but here we go.
Nope.
But no, what's going on in the world of sports is we have Miss Tara Vanderveer. Please come down to the front of the congregation. She is she's actually just taken over the most wins as a women's head coach in college basketball with 1,099 passing the great Pat Summitt. You know, I mean, Tara Vanderveer is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of women basketball coaches. I mean, congratulations, coach, on your achievement.
I'm with you on that. I never thought in my lifetime that I would see somebody pass Pat Summitt, maybe Moffitt at Notre Dame, but that's not the case. She gets it done. Great job to her. 2 thumbs up there. That music can only mean one thing. It's time to thank our support staff. The man on the board, Zach. The thumbnails are looking good. The production is looking good. Loving it. Thank you. He's a little bit depressed right now with the Steelers on an 0-2 losing Jag. They'll bounce back. They're playing the Bengals this weekend. The man on my left, Chris Roberts. El Presidente Chef 40 for all of us here at the first round. We want to thank you for spending time with us. Hit that subscription button. Become a part of the family. We will be right back here next week talking about everything going on in the world of sports. And check out our Negro League special right down here this week. Give us a thumbs up on that. Until then, take care, everybody.